In the absence of Kaiju, I don't know exactly his whereabouts for this evening, so I suppose he would be Kaiju Noir, which I suppose that's kind of a double negative in some aspects. That aside, let's just address this one particular thing, considering he's not really that interested in this particular subject, and it's a subject we would have been asked to talk about one way or another. Roman Reigns relinquishing the Universal title so that he can be free to go and battle leukemia once more.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, last couple of weeks, it was a pretty hard pill to swallow.
Here's where I'm going to be as honest and as blunt as I can, because usually I would crap all over the way that his character was promoted and just utilized, but on this occasion it's just like, no, don't even think about doing that, because when someone's got a form of cancer, it's like no, just, because when somebody's going through something like that, and I've lost a few members of my family to cancer, and that's not something to be sniffed at. You just, you put your affairs in order and put your what ego aside that you have for the character, and just wish the person well. The fact that he put it into remission once tells me a lot about not only his physical capabilities, but his capability character-wise. I wish Joe nothing but the speediest recovery, and hopefully he keeps this at bay once and for all. But this is where I'm going to be critical of story. They could have saved the Dean Ambrose heel turn for at least a month afterwards, because that was poorly timed.
It took me by surprise.
I mean,
yeah, like it took a lot of people by surprise. That's for sure.
I mean, what they could have done at that stage is say, okay, Roman is going to be out of the picture for whatever time is necessary for him to go and get the treatment and therapy, because leukemia is not something you put aside quickly. It takes time, because you've not only got to go through the treatment and therapy, but then you've got the recovery period. Any cancer survivor will tell you that, because anybody that goes through chemotherapy, it wipes you out, and then you build the slow recovery to where, you can actually do the things that you took every day for granted, like just being able to walk up the steps unattended, or be able to interact with people and not worry about your immune system not being able to take it, or just, being able to eat a full meal and not feel, like you've got no appetite. Because what they could have done with Ambrose and Rollins is like make them the tag team champions, or here's an idea, get Ambrose to become Universal Champion. You had that as an option, but no, you decided to go for the really untactful and poorly timed decision to turn Ambrose heel. I mean, in the weeks that there's led up to this, it has been slowly building. Anybody that's seen WWE, whether it's from the New Generation to the Attitude Era to Ruthless Aggression to now, when something's changing, when you see characters like Ambrose, where you see him looking at his teammates slightly different, and he's taking exception to certain quips or certain, accusations. It's like, why you gotta be like that? And they're like, well, I don't mean anything like that. You see the gears are turning. Again, They could have saved this for a month afterwards. But this is another reason why Vinnie Mac has got to go. You know, again, could have saved this for a month later. And the fact that, you know, they had all three members of the Shield at the top of the ramp, all with the all three fists together as one, bawling and crying their eyes out, and then they do the heel turn. It's just like, why? Just why? I mean,
I'm gonna. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's like I feel like I have to play devil's advocate at least a little bit.
mm-hmm.
There was gonna be no other time where they're gonna be able to do that. I mean, it was tasteful, a little distasteful, but how the hell was Ambrose gonna get booed out of the building if that were the case? Because if he had done it at any other point afterwards, the audience would have cheered. That's how over Ambrose is. That he needed to do something completely despicable, and this was pretty despicable, if you ask me.
Mind you, story-wise, if they wanted to, you know, go the full 9 yards and be, even more despicable, he would have DDT'd Roman. But again, because you know, what Roman's going through is not part of the story. And here's the thing, and this is where I'm being complimentary as well. Mm-hmm. That was easily the best promo Roman has ever cut, because it came from the gut. But that's just another problem that's highlighted with modern WWE. Everything is micromanaged down to the tiniest molecule. Nobody is allowed to be a character anymore. Unless, of course, you're Triple H or The Undertaker, but, you know, that's a subject onto itself. I do understand where you're coming from, Lids, but at the same time, you know, timing. You know, it could have been handled a little bit better and picked a better time and place. I understand completely where you're coming from in terms of character execution and being able to get the right heat onto Dean, but not after they've had, you know, the union like that, where they've all been, you know, all come together as brothers, and letting Roman leave like that and then do the heel turn. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but that didn't wash well with me.
Oh, that's fair. That's perfectly fair.
Do you have anything further to say, Liz, or was that pretty much your 2 cents on it?
Well, I do have to say that, like, I hope that Joe kicks Cancer's ass again, because if he did it before, he can do it again. And whatever I felt about the character of Roman Reigns, that goes out the window right now. That completely put aside. This is a man who's fighting for his life. And no matter what we say, we can say, oh, it's just for storyline. First of all, fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Okay.
Yeah, because this man is trying, again, as I said, fighting for his life. And even for as classless as WWE can be, they would not do that, even for them.
No.
So I hope he gets better, and I'm probably one of the few people that is okay with the Dean Ambrose turn, but that's just me. But we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes.
Stephen, to answer your question, he goes, brothers, now you got Hulkamania in my head. Thanks, MJ. No. Brothers is a term of endearment, you know, where you have friends that are like brothers to you. That's why they refer to each other as Shield brothers. That's just the way they do it. Or in a similar context to how you get where some girls will refer to some of their friends as like their sisters because they are that close, they may as well be family. You know. Yeah, it's cool, dude. It's cool. Hey, Sean.
Hey.
Dan says, I think they did the heel turn deliberately while the news of Rome was still fresh in people's minds to make Dean's heel turn more emotionally effective, which is pretty much what Lydia just said. Hey, MJ. Hey, going to get my picture taken with Ric Flair when I attend Rhode Island Comic Con this Saturday. Woo! Don't get random involved. Never hear the end of that. Dan?
It's like, hello. Oh, God, no.
Dan, whatever you do, and even Oni will tell you this, under no circumstances whatsoever do not offer to pay Ric Flair's bar tab. Miz found that out the hard way. And Oni's in the chat. What else was WWE going to do? I think it was penciled in for that night, but then Roman legit dropped that bombshell. He's thinking, gosh, I hate you, dude. Raiden, where do you stand with it? Or are you in a similar sort of stance that we're thinking about it, you know?
I said this in a post. I may not like his character. I may not like how he was pushed at times. It's like Lydia said, all that shit goes out the window when you have a disease. So my heart goes out to Mr. Joe Anawahi, aka Roman Reigns. Old strong, old state battle tested. And I said hashtag believe in the shield. Well, except for the Ambrose heel turn, but yeah, it was in the moment. So yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. So when I heard about this, like, oh shit, you serious? I'm like, look, I never hated Roman Reigns. Like I just hate, like I said, I just did not like the character, and I didn't like how limited his moveset was because a lot of people won't say it, but he's damn good at wrestling. I mean, go back to I think it was Fastlane 2015 when he fought against Daniel Bryan. He can wrestle his ass off.
Yeah.
So you know, even though I can barely trust WWE at times, I'm kind of glad how they handle it, and I hope, and there's a big hope, when Reigns come back and fights this, he gets the loud ovation, and probably get more of a cool character change, kind of like mid 2014 Reigns when he was just less talk, more action. That's the Roman Reigns that I like.
Yeah.
And like that's the Roman Reigns I want to see come back. Like I said, heart goes out for him, man. Definitely hold strong and stay battle tested with this. So you know.
Yeah. And can I say one more thing about the Ambrose heel turn?
Go for it.
Yeah, well, when that happened, I was literally like not watching it with Oni live. He was watching it. I was listening and watching it. And when the Ambrose heel turn hit, the poor man was speechless. I'm like, what the? Like, are you okay? And then he's all like, he typing out Ambrose heel turn. I'm like, are you serious? And he was so upset that he was saying, you're not reviewing it tonight. Pull out. But then after he kind of changed his mind and said, like, you can review it, it's fine. It's just that if he could friggin' take somebody as jaded as him and leave him on his jaw on the floor, that says something.
Although I think the biggest turning point where Roman got the reddest heat, Royal Rumble 2015.
Oh boy! People were already pissed off when Daniel Bryan was eliminated.
Had Bryan not been in the Rumble and had he not been eliminated, I think Roman would have gone over better. And I appreciate this is nearly 4 years late, but I have to correct a certain game and certain billion-dollar baroness on something. They said that the 2015 Royal Rumble ended in controversy with The Rock interfering. It's like, Steph, you know the Royal Rumble's always been no DQ, right? Anything goes. Or do I not need to remind you of the Hardcore Rumble from 2001?
Still best Rumble. Still best Rumble.
And with regards to what they're going to do with the Universal title, Raiden, I hate to be the one to break this news to you.
Uh-oh.
They're thinking about putting it back on the Beast.
Oh!
Excuse me. I already know.
Uh-oh.
I technically already know about this, but you know where this goes.
Oh no.
I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I
Telegraph
haven't,
that.
I haven't used this in a while, so if there is a freaking god, they put it on Braun Strowman because I cannot take another fucking Universal title reign with Brock. I can't. I can't.
Because for Crown Jewel, it was going to be a triple threat match between Reigns, Lesnar, and Strowman. But now, from what I understand, it's just going to be a one-on-one match between Brock and Strowman. And one of the words going around on the wire is that they want to put it back on Brock. And I'm like, have you guys not learned anything in the last 2 years?
I heard that. I'm like, why?
I'll do you one better.
Mm-mm.
Uh-oh.
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 Thank you, Keenan.
Thank you.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it on Strowman for a while. I mean, they were originally going to push for him before, excuse me. Why not just take that chance now? Because to pretty much paraphrase what Jim Ross said on the Monday Night Wars DVD from 2004, we were all about, making new stars and using new guys, and WCW did that. Other than Hogan, only one guy got a break in that entire lucrative run of WCW. Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
Did they?
Also DDP.
Probably not in the same type of impact that Goldberg had, because Goldberg did a Randy Orton before Randy Orton did a Randy Orton. Randyception.
I'm not quite following.
The fact that Goldberg came out of nowhere.
Okay. Thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't ever recall Goldberg flubbing his lines.
See, Goldberg is one of those guys that is just all about smash mouth intensity. He doesn't really necessarily need to have over the top scripted promos. His lines are very short but to the point, but it's impactful. Like for example, before Unforgiven 2003, Triple H, you say Goldberg is nothing but hype? Believe the hype. And you're like, whoa.
So yeah, I think Goldberg back in the day, especially in WCW, he did talk, but he was before Roman Reigns, the more silent protagonist. Just talk less, more fist.
And the way he lost the title in WCW was bullshit. Being tasered. I'm looking at that thinking, what?
More stupid than the finger poke of doom, because I finally saw that live. I finally saw that. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Why?
Exactly.
Like, okay, not to go off on a tangent, but bruh, Kevin Nash, I now really detest that guy. Like, he calling vanilla midgets and everything, hating on the light heavyweight division. And you know what? And I remember Eddie Guerrero roasted the hell out of him. I was like, you are the most evilest person I ever met.
Yeah, because he even because as CM Punk said in his first promo after losing the WWE title the night after SummerSlam 2011, he said, when people like you call the late great Eddie Guerrero a vanilla midget, and at that point I look at it going, motherfucker, what? Eddie Guerrero, probably one of the best high-flying technicians ever. Because, all right, he wasn't the most jacked and he wasn't the most stacked performer. I mean, he wasn't as tall as a Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, or Triple H. But dude, the things he could do in the ring. I mean, he could do things at his size that people twice his size couldn't do. I mean, imagine the Big Show doing the Three Amigos or a frog splash.
Well, way back in the day, Big Show was super athletic, especially doing like arm drags and getting out of it. So hey, back then he was super athletic.
Yeah, but Big Show, imagine Big Show now doing that. You'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's basically SmackDown vs. Raw or WWE 2K like well, I doubt they do like the whole like crazy physics thing since it's all simulated, but yeah, it's video games though. You can do whatever you want there.
Yes, we haven't heard Wynn's take on Roman's situation, so you do as you do best.
Well, I gotta say, well, after having this bomb dropped about his condition, it kind of made me feel a little guilty that I used to call his matches piss breaks. Because, as I've said, I never really had any malicious feelings towards the guy. Just the matches and how they were set up. And I really hope that he has a speedy recovery. Any form of cancer, especially something like leukemia, is no joke.
Nope.
And I didn't really get to see the heel turn for myself, so I can't really put my input on that. But in terms of the timing, it kind of doesn't surprise me too much because it's Vince McMahon being Vince McMahon, out of touch as fuck.
What else is new?
True.
To be fair, though, none of us knew that was going to happen this year, so, you know, it's not like, you know, we would have had a crystal ball and be able to see all of this. So, I mean, you feel guilty because, you know, as good-natured human beings as we are, you're kind of like, oh shit, this has happened to him. Oh, I kind of feel bad for saying it. It's like, none of us saw this coming. So I understand where you're coming from, but it's one of those feel bad but don't feel bad, if you get my meaning.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, none of us saw this coming. I mean, and also it's kind of bittersweet in some respect because particularly in the last year, he has moved mountains just to get that title off of Brock, and he's lost it within 2 months. Well, he's not lost it, he's had to relinquish it because losing the title would mean that he was made to submit or be pinned. And on this occasion, it was he had to let go of it, not by his choice, because despite some of the things we say about Vince McMahon's tactfulness or lack of thereof, there's no way on this earth he will sanction a match where a man that has got a form of cancer compete in a match against someone else, because then he's putting his other talent at risk.
Yeah.
I mean, the man has done some stupid things in his time, XFL notwithstanding, but he's not going to put somebody at risk who's a liability against other people who, you know, you may likely injure with. So, you know, make of that what you will.